And we're going to Ukraine now, where the country's military is repositioning some troops in the frontline town of Avdiivka to what it calls more advantageous positions. The eastern town has seen months of heavy fighting. Kyiv says it is redeploying some forces because it is difficult to supply Avdiivka and get people out. Russia is trying to seize the town, which is seen as the key to the Donbas region. And for more on that, I'm now joined by military analyst Frank Ledwich, who is in Oxford in the UK. Frank, good to have you back on the show. What do you make of this phrasing, more advantageous positions? Is that just a fancy way to describe a retreat?
Gerhard, good afternoon. Yeah, well, in short, yes, it's a euphemism for what appears to be withdrawal. Over the last few days, the Ukrainians say that they have and seem to have redeployed one rather elite unit, so-called third brigade, I should say. We will know better as the Azov Brigade, to open up to try and hold open the routes in what's become a cauldron, a Kessel in German, where essentially the jaws are shutting. And it seems that the process of trying to withdraw troops from Avdiivka, which has been in the pipeline now for the last week or two, very clearly is beginning. And of course, the euphemism, as you point out, for that is redeployment.
Now, remind us, we've heard that Avdiivka is the key to the Donbas region. Explain to us why it is so important for both Russia and Ukraine.
I'm not sure I'd call it the key to the Donbas. I think when and if it falls, we'll move on to another key. The original importance of it was that it was the last place effectively in Ukrainian hands from which shelling could be conducted against the city of Donbas, which is about 20 miles or so to the southeast, or essentially to the south, the big city of Donetsk. And the Russians wanted that back. It's been fortified for a long time. It's been fought over for a long time. And it was an embarrassment that Donetsk was being shelled from there. So that's the original operational reason. But of course, as with all these major battles, such as Bakhmut and various others we've seen over the last 2 years, it's now assumed strategic importance, and it's had political importance because it's become a symbol for standing and holding and so forth, like Bakhmut. It's a very similar situation, actually.
Now, since you mentioned Bakhmut and the political situation, Ukraine's president was criticized last year by many experts for holding on to Bakhmut, another town in the east, for too long, which led to heavy losses and still resulted in Ukraine's retreat. Is Ukraine trying to avoid the same mistake in Avdiivka now?
Yes, it seems so. And in one element or one respect, this is quite surprising because, as you've seen, we've had a change of command from General Zaluzhny to General Syrskyi, and we would have expected General Syrskyi to put all the resources forward to try and hold it. But it seems that they've given up that particular approach very wisely. Although it remains to be seen whether they are going to be able to get their troops out of Avdiivka. Weather is awful, Gerhard. It's absolutely terrible. It's muddy. It's extremely cold. The roads are smashed up. The Russians are on both sides. Let's hope that the Azov Brigade and others can ensure that when the time comes, they can conduct the withdrawal, as they call it, or the retreat, as others might call it, and get as many soldiers out as they can.
Now, while all that is going on, both sides still exchange strikes. What's your assessment? Who is better equipped to withstand the frequent attacks?
We don't hear about the strikes against Ukrainian key targets. That's the way the Ukrainians perhaps understandably play it. But the Russian strikes on their rear are clearly doing damage. Same for the Russians. And most recently, of course, we saw the loss of another one of their landing ships. This is a war of attrition. Neither side has the advantage in resilience. The Russians, of course, will just press on, and the Ukrainians will continue to resist. The advantage, though, with respect to attrition warfare without further help clearly lies, though, with the larger power, with the more soldiers, more resources. Right now, that's Russia. if Ukraine is not reinforced with further resources and indeed soldiers.
The military analyst, Frank Ledwich there. Thank you very much, Frank.
Thank you, sir.